Okay, let's talk about car dashboards. Specifically, those annoying tangled charging cables.
Ugh, yeah. The enemy of clean car interiors everywhere.
Right. And if your car only supports wired CarPlay or Android Auto, you're probably looking for a way out, like some kind of wireless solution.
Get a magic dongle.
Exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive into one of these, the Ottocast Mini Cube 3.0. It's based on some detailed source material we've looked at.
Mm-hmm.
And our mission, really, is to figure out if this little thumb drive size gadget actually gives you that wireless bliss it promises.
Or if it just swaps one problem, the cable, for, a different set of frustrations, digital ones.
Yeah, trading complications.
Precisely. We need to look beyond just the marketing, right? The key things are always the real-world performance metrics.
Like how fast it starts up.
Yeah, boot up speed, how quickly CarPlay loads, and critically, the difference between what the manufacturer claims it does
Especially with features.
and what you actually get day to day. That's the crucial part.
Okay, let's dive in. What are the good points? The source material definitely highlights the size first.
It is tiny.
Like genuinely small. Actual USB stick dimensions, it says.
Yeah.
So it basically disappears into the console.
Which is nice, aesthetically. And they claim huge compatibility, over 98% of car models.
That's a big number.
It is. Though, the source didn't really specify which cars fall into that tricky 2%. Something to keep in mind.
Fair point. What about performance? How fast is it really?
Well, performance-wise, it's pretty decent, actually. Boots up in about 8 seconds.
Okay.
And then it loads the actual CarPlay interface in, roughly 21 seconds.
21 seconds. I don't know. That sounds like kind of a long time compared to just plugging in.
It does sound a bit slow, yeah. But the source notes that compared to other wireless adapters like this, it's actually maybe 5 seconds faster than some big competitors. So perspective matters.
Okay. Context.
And when it is connected, things are apparently pretty smooth. Touch response is snappy. Calling quality is solid, and this is important. It supports GPS pass-through.
Meaning it uses the car's GPS.
Exactly. Uses your cars better. Built-in GPS antenna, not just your phones. That helps a lot with navigation accuracy.
Got it. Okay, but let's get to the feature that the source is really focused on, that physical button.
Ah, yes, the button.
It's advertised as this brilliant fix for cars with multiple drivers, right? Like instantly switch between phones, driver's phone, passenger's phone, back and forth, seamlessly.
Well, this is where the promise kind of falls apart, according to the analysis.
How so?
The source basically called it expensive confusion because it doesn't really switch.
It doesn't switch. What does it do then?
It mostly just disconnects whoever is currently connected, kicks them off.
Oh.
Then it just sits there for almost 30 seconds, apparently, before it might try to connect to the other paired phone.
30 seconds. That's not switching. That's just disconnecting and waiting.
Precisely. Imagine trying to do that quickly if you need navigation from the other phone in traffic. It's just not practical. Definitely not seamless.
Wow. Okay. That's a big miss. And speaking of things not being seamless, what about the settings? The source wasn't too kind there either.
Yeah.
Functionally restrictive, I think was the term.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly. The settings menu is described as criminally basic.
Why does that matter so much for a wireless adapter? Isn't plug and play the goal?
It is, but cars and phones aren't all the same. Good adapters let you tweak things, like adjust for audio delay or latency.
Audio drift. Yeah. Lip sync issues with videos, that kind of thing.
Exactly that. Some car head units just introduce a slight delay with Bluetooth audio. It happens. Normally, you'd go into the adapter settings and compensate for it.
Not with the Mini Cube.
Nope. It completely lacks those kinds of fine-tuning options. So if your car has a quirk that causes audio delay, well, you're stuck with it. As the source said, you get what you get.
That sounds pretty bad across the board. But wait, there was a nuance, wasn't there? Something about Android versus iPhone.
That's right. Interestingly, Android Auto users seem to have a slightly better time with it.
Really? How?
Reports suggest the calling quality can be a bit better, and that connection delay sometimes feels less noticeable compared to what iPhone users experience.
So the experience isn't even consistent depending on your phone.
Exactly. It's fragmented, which makes recommending it tricky.
Okay, so let's try and summarize this. For someone listening who just wants that clean, wireless dashboard, what's the verdict?
Well, the overall vibe from the source material is kind of peaky. It's fine energy.
It's fine. That doesn't sound like a ringing endorsement.
No, it's not. It means it does do the basic job, right? It converts your wired connection to wireless, and it probably won't drive you completely crazy.
If. There's an if, isn't there?
If you're mostly a single user And if your car happens to play nicely with it without needing any tweaking.
So the big caution is, don't buy it for the switching feature.
Absolutely not. That button function is basically unreliable. And don't expect to fix any audio sync issues if they pop up because you can't adjust the settings.
You're buying a very basic wireless converter, nothing more sophisticated.
That sums it up well. You know, the whole point of tech like this should be simplification.
Making life easier.
Right. So did this device actually simplify things by getting rid of the cable, or did it just swap that minor hassle for a different one? Like a button that doesn't work right and settings you can't change.
Yeah, that's the core question, which leads to maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. Given these limitations, especially around settings, how much do you personally value being able to fine-tune things like audio delay for your specific car's system? What are you willing to give up just to get rid of that cable?
It's a trade-off, isn't it? Hopefully this deep dive helps you figure out if this particular trade-off is worth it for you, or if you just saved yourself some money on promises that don't quite deliver.